Hello, everyone. It's me, Tia Marie, the Soul Potential CEO. And today I'm here to do something a little bit different. So, I'm going to be talking about a new frequency of magic, a prophecy of industry trends, and the currency of genius. So, I don't always do predictive conversations. I don't often share a lot outside of my private mentorship or, paid groups. I don't typically lean into talking about what's going on and where we're headed from the perspective of like, hey, I told you so. This is where we're at. This is where we're going. You need to pay attention to this. You need to wake up and look around you. But I have had over the years such a profound sensation every time I move into a new phase of creation. We'll just call it that. I have a real strong sense in myself about things that I need to do and what is coming. And so I just feel like this conversation is really present for me at the moment. Um, it's super alive in my life, and I just want to take some time to talk about it in today's quick chat. So, a new frequency of magic. What do I mean by that? Well, my definition of magic has always been, and I talk about this a lot inside of my containers, the ability to take an idea, a spark of genius, a dream, something you see in your heart, in your mind, with your eyes closed, a vision, and turn it into reality. That is simply to me what magic is. And so when I say things like magic, sometimes people hear things in themselves that feel ungrounded or untrue or like fairy tales. But in my life, creating magic is really real because it's something that I do every single day in my business. I do it in my own mind. I do it in my relationships. I do it for the people I love. And I do it as a way of life. And so when I'm talking about a new frequency of magic, what I'm trying to say is that there is a big shift in the way that we're going to create moving forward into the age of technology and the age of information. And I believe that we are up against a really big push, a big timeline, a phase of chaos as the catalyst for next level creation. And I felt the same way leading up into COVID before COVID happened. I had a real sense in me that it was time to get serious about how I wanted my life to be. And that was in that push. And I believe that moving into the pandemic, many of us had the same experiences. And when we look back, we can see in ourselves if we took up the task, if we said yes to the things that were pulling at us and calling at us from deep within, if we said yes, if we made the changes, if we had courage, if we took a step, we really feel like it was a great opportunity. And that's how I feel. I decided to go all in on my career pivot. I decided to move my home. So I moved to a new location. I decided to make big changes in my life and my relationships. I decided to have faith in myself. I decided to show up and be louder. I decided that it was okay for me to be weird and misunderstood and be myself. And I chose to go deep within into building my body of work at that time. Prior to that, I had been doing a lot all at the same time. So I had been dabbling in the dreams. I had been sustaining a career and holding the threads of my life together that were no longer serving me. And it was just like the straw that broke the camel's back, per se. And it was like, I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm rowing in a boat right now. And there are some things that I am dragging along onto this journey that just cannot be sustained by the structure of the boat that I am in. I've got to throw them overboard. I've got to protect what is mine. I've got to pay attention to the things that matter. I got to focus on my family. I gotta, right? And it was so like palatable for me at that time that I didn't hem and haw over making that decision. And it was needed, and I knew it, and I just did it. After that, over the years, I have gone through a lot. I have gone through probably the fears and the things that kept me from actually making that decision prior to that, because it was all a little bit overwhelming and too scary. And I didn't think that I could do it, but I saw and I felt this big surge of urgency, and I just wasn't willing to play into the fear anymore. And right now, I feel that on a collective level, we are up against another one of those surges. And what I am so grateful for in myself, and what I'm thanking myself for every moment as I am leaning into this new sensation, is the fact that I actually took the steps that I needed to step into during the last one and built a foundation over those years for me to build upon. And that for me feels super aligned, exciting. I'm grateful for it. And now I want to talk about what I see is coming next. Where we're at, what is brewing? We are in the age of information, as I mentioned. We are in the age of technology. We are inundated with possibility, potential, a lot of people's emotions, a lot of unrest, chaos. Everything is in constant flux. And so what we need to do moving forward, what we need to pay attention to, and I'm going to share 3 tips at the end of this conversation, but we really need to move into, okay, hopefully you did the things that were nagging at you and on your mind. Hopefully you made a big shift, you built up some foundation, and now you're at the point where you really need to take that and move into the next level so that you can understand what is required in you in order to thrive. So pivoting is going to be really important in these times. Having strong internal architecture is going to be really important in these times. Having a relationship with embodied soul wisdom is going to be crucial. The currency of your genius is about being able to create from inspiration, being able to create from a sustained place in you that thrives, being able to take that spark of dream and vision and move with what is, really like be in the flow of life instead of the linear ways that your brain has been accustomed to operating, and that the majority of the collective and everything in society and everything that makes sense to our logic tells you is the right way to do things. All of that is changing. Think of it this way. The paradigms that we have been propped up and built our awarenesses upon are crumbling. Political paradigms, worship paradigms, meaning the worship of money, the worship of fame, the worship of status, the worship of power. All of these structures are literally crumbling right before your eyes. And what the majority of people are doing in response to that is clinging and being outraged and finding and trying to find ways to orient themselves back to something that is comfortable. How to stay in a place where they know what they know and they know what's coming, because they don't have a structure in them that is comfortable in chaos. And you will see that all of these mental shapes, okay, that we've been interacting with, the ways that we thought things were, are no longer making sense anymore. We're hearing politicians and business leaders and spiritual gurus and religious systems and money advisors and influencers and all of these ways that we identify ourselves. We're hearing all of this information come up, and it's not making sense anymore. And we're starting to see the underbelly. We're starting to really see the underbelly of that expose itself. And it's looking really ugly and gross and hypocritical. Years and years and years ago, I had this dream that was a really like a lucid, very profound dream. I still remember it, where I was on a mission and moving through a fun house. So like a haunted house, like a place that you would go to in a carnival where you're just like walking from room to room and there's things that were popping out and scaring you, and there's twisted mirrors on walls and characters, and it was just like a carnival ride. And as I was moving through these rooms, I remember the sensation of being like, everything in here, everything that is in this clown, this circus act of this game that I'm witnessing is meant to look real, but it's not. And even the ways that the players in the game are setting themselves up it's like so exposed. It's so obvious to me in the dream. It was so obvious that behind every closed door, there was a wretched, abusive, sick undertone, a joke that was being played on reality. And the majority of people that were walking through this funhouse, through this ride, through this, ah, and like, ooh, ah, they just couldn't see it, right? Like everyone was so entertained by the fantasy and the drama of the stories and just fully, fully enrolled. But I was in that scenario feeling like there is something so wrong with this environment. And I was on a mission in that dream to not only expose it, to just really look at it for what it is. And I feel this way about the times that we're moving into. And I also feel that it's really important to be aware that in this age of information and technology, that the rapid pace of change is going to operate at a level that is beyond our comprehension. And this is why pivoting, internal architecture, soul wisdom, intuition, divine support, creativity, genius, adaptability, stamina for creation, comfortability with chaos is not only so incredibly important, but it's the truth that in 5 years, what you think you know right now is not going to be relevant. In 5 years, the business strategies that you are really working so hard to nail down and build your life around are no longer going to work. The financial expectations, the worshiping of money, the worshiping of like fame, status, all of these empty shell, all of these empty rooms in that carnival ride that have no substance, that you just haven't opened the door to, that when the lights turn on, everything's like dirty and nasty and gross. It's not going to work in the same way that it worked before. And so the skill here, what is so important is learning how to create in cycles instead of linear tasks, instead of like a 5-year plan. Learn how to be resilient today. Learn how to build human skill over the next month. Set an intention for a year of focus and learn how to take that focus and turn it into the like currency, right? Like turn it into your riches, because everything is fighting for your attention. Everything is clamoring for your emotional investment. All of collective reality is grasping to the structures that are falling apart and telling you that in order for you to make a change, in order for you to be a part of it, you have to fight to tear it down. You don't need to fight. It is already coming down. What you need to do, what we need to remember right now, is that we need to find a new frequency of our own magic. We need to find a new way of creating in this new phase of evolution that we're in. And what is most important is that you do focus on creating what you are here to create. You got to be specific. You got to get specific with yourself about what that means. Focus on your own. Those with inner strength, access to divine support, the ability to thrive in chaos, those with stamina for creation, those who have focused into building their own body of work, free from what other people tell them, free from identity strategies, free from all of the definitions, the dimensions of the self that are very dependent on these like solid structures that you have created because you can depend on them. Those are the people who are going to be able to move in step with what is coming and truly maximize the potential that chaos brings. If you can see it as, and I've talked about this in other chats, but if you can see it as like, it's actually a really exciting opportunity. It can feel a little bit scary, but that's only because of your relationship to it. If you have built up a body of work that protects you, and you know how to relate back to that, if you understand your own belief system, if you've crafted it, if you've created it, if you've invested in it, it will always be there to support you. And so instead of worrying about your safety in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and focusing on investing in a foundation that creates safety for you now, that is seeded by your own currency of creativity and genius and your soul's mission, which you have chosen to create in the world, you cannot be fucked with. When you say yes to this field, you become incorruptible over time. And that energy is the energy that you should be focusing on. And it's going to be interesting for me to come back in a year and listen to this again and have an experience of how much I've created since this awareness, to have an experience of how much has changed, of how I took the time to speak it out and to share it. And I'm looking forward to that because I have also a real sense about the different reality that I'm going to be in when that time comes. But what I can say to you is that for me, I know that I was born to utilize this type of energy. And my intention moving into this next phase is to be even louder about the internal architecture that I have created that helps people learn how to access this new frequency of magic and how to create in alternative ways with accelerative tools, with upgrades that actually speak to our intelligence, that let us move on from the ways that we continually process and allow other people to tell us who we are, and that we buy in, that we keep buying in to that illusion that just cannot sustain itself anymore. It doesn't work. It's not going to work. And so you may find yourself in this position where you're like, I don't know, the old healing strategies that I used and the methodologies and the modalities just don't feel connected to them like I used to. Or maybe there's this sense that you're starting to question everything that you believed in a really big way before, that really helped you to feel solid and like you knew where you were going and what you were doing, and that's not working anymore. Or maybe you're just so disappointed by all of the lack of humanity that you see around you, and that's making you feel like maybe the ways that you understood life don't relate anymore. Or maybe the things that used to make you really excited aren't hitting like they used to. Or maybe the need to make that money just doesn't feel as sweet. The goal, achievement isn't sustaining, it's not going deep into you. The fancy cars, the luxury, like you're just starting to have this sense of like, I don't know, something feels a little bit off. Can't put my finger on it, but I know that I'm looking for something really deep, something that just hits on a soul level. This, my friend, is the greatest message you could ever receive from yourself. It is your soul's calling. It is a reminder and a remembrance to you of the still and deep cosmic power that you hold in your being. A still and deep reminder of the remembrance of who you truly, truly, truly are underneath all of those things that we have discussed here, underneath and deeper and deeper and deeper. And that really, at the end of the day, what you are looking for is to live in self-initiated service to that deep truth in you. And all of the ways that you haven't found how to express it yet, that you haven't invested in building that up, that is a gift that will never stop showering its magic, stardust, sparkles, and beauty upon you. This is how you create from your dreamscape, from your internal dreamscape. The best advice that I could give you right now, if you feel resonant with this message, is to invest in your body of work. If you feel like you are somebody who is here to share in this new frequency of magic, if you feel like you are somebody who has deep, deep truth and you've come to really express that on a soul level, invest in your body of work. And I mean that specifically. I mean, pay for it. Focus on it. do whatever you have to do. Now is the time. If you are feeling that push, like I talked about in the beginning of like when I just knew it was time to move. If you are here to make a move, make the move. Like do that. Just do that thing. Invest in it. Spend the time. Spend a year. Learn from the spherical wisdom of the soul. Learn how to create in cycles. Learn how to upgrade your system. The second thing that I can say is really important is learn how to build resilience, learn how to build stamina for creation, learn how to be part of the long game. Look at the things that you are giving your power to in your life, aka what you are worshiping, and really ask yourself, does this position me well? Am I dependent? Is this clean? Am I speaking to soul truths? Is this helping the world? What's underneath? Is this helping my world? And the third thing I would say is important is to value and maximize what you already have. Like really, really value it, not just be like, oh, this is cool. I do this cool thing. I could do that, or I could do this, or this is a good idea. That's a great idea. What a great idea. No, value and maximize what you already have, all the resources that you already have. Look around you. Who do you have in your life? What do you have in physical spaces? How much beauty is there? How much provision is there? How rich are you? Release yourself from the illusions that are energetically, mentally, and spiritually setting you up to not have access to everything that is already there, and then take that and maximize it. I truly, truly believe that one of the greatest gifts from the crumbling that we are experiencing in all of these paradigms, like, religious systems, political systems, fame, entertainment, fantasy, the way we get our kicks, sexual obsessions, all of these things, like just how we're out there as humans, like getting ourselves off. Power struggles, drama, fighting, telling everybody else what to think and do. It's all drama. The ways that these dependencies are crumbling right before our eyes are going to leave us in the dust of what is actually there in the soil. What you got left in your roots. Who are you when you can't relate to life in the same way that you used to? What have you built up? What kind of internal architecture have you built? And when I say these words in my body right now, I can feel excitement. I feel a tingling of steadiness, of stability, of rock solid presence. And it makes me feel like I can create anything in this world. And that is what I feel left with. And that is a powerful, powerful place to be. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. And what I want to share with you inside of this episode is an opt-in or a free ritual leading to my Cosmic Empress content. So I have a really epic, powerful, experiential magic journey that taps and tunes into the new frequency of magic that I'm talking about here. And Cosmic Empress, the 5 gates of her potential. Gate 1, the divine horizon, meeting yourself in the realm of pure potential, is a ritual that I'm going to share with my community and share with you that you can, sign up for inside of this episode. And I can tell you that this ritual is the pure and true frequency of what I am talking about inside of this episode. If I was to strip away all of the explanation and the inspiration and the prophecy and like, here's what's coming, do what you want with it, take it or leave it, that's up to you. But at the end of this conversation, there is a energy that I am speaking to. And if you want to feel what that energy is like, go ahead and sign up for Cosmic Empress Gate 1 so you can see what this feels like in you. And I am so grateful for you, and I am looking forward to seeing you back here in the next chat.